And the border closure policy implemented by the Nigerian government for over 2 years failed to stop the smuggling of imported rice and other key commodities into the country, while the land borders were locked. Business Day findings have shown. The federal government had in August of 2019 closed its 8 major land borders with neighboring West African countries to stem the smuggling of agricultural commodities. In December of 2020, the government approved the immediate reopening of 4 of the borders, namely the Seme border in the southwest, Ilela and Megatari borders in the northwest, and Mount in the south-south. Last month, the government directed the Nigerian Customs Service to reopen 4 more borders: Idiroko in Ogun State, Jibia in Katsina State, Canberra in Kebbi State, and Ikon in Cross River State. Our rice business analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now to discuss this further. Good morning. Great to have you.
Hey, hi. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm feeling really great. With a whole lot of money flying around, it's a good time to feel good. Mark my words. I just said feel. He who feels it knows it.
One figure.
Or reverse.
As a figure.
Yes.
100.
But I'm worried about food prices, by the way, while some figures are flying around as to how much do you need to buy food. You know, smuggling and continue despite that land closure that we had over from 2019 to close to 3 years.
You know, it takes a lot to feed 200 million mouths.
It takes a lot.
To feed 200 million mouths. Even if you have hosted people in your house, or even some birthdays of your kids or stuff like that, you know that, you know, these days it costs a lot to feed people. And one of the issues that I raise constantly is this, that we know we have capacity for local production. Now,
capacity or potential?
Capacity.
Well, okay.
Capacity. Potential for local production. Okay, thank you. Now, the problem always has been what is that capacity locally versus our demand. Now, when you close the border and say Nigeria is self-sufficient in maize, in rice, in beans, in wheat, you know, what's our capacity locally to produce these items I mentioned, about maybe 10 staples, versus what the 200 million mouths would need to consume
on a daily basis, on a sustainable basis.
So once you have that gap between what we can produce locally and what we really demand locally, we need locally, and you have that gap must be met somehow.
So when we say we are producing X, Y, we shouldn't be looking at just the capacity, but demand.
Demand. So once you have that gap, people must eat. And so what happens therefore is that gap between the supply and the demand must be met somehow. So even when the borders were closed, what happened subsequently, therefore, was that the smugglers found alternative but more expensive routes to bring in this products into Nigeria because the demand was there in Nigeria. You know, and then what that meant again is that, you know, the prices got higher. If you look, the food inflation in Nigeria at the time, 2019, August, I think, when this border policy came into play, was about 13.19%. You know, it was after the border policy came into play that the food prices started going up into the country. Now, an analyst don't require a rocket scientist to tell you there's a correlation between that, the border closures, and the food inflation in Nigeria, simply because of the fact that you have 200 million mouths to feed. And the production in Nigeria cannot, even despite the best efforts, despite the Central Bank best efforts in Anchor Borrowers program for rice, beans, maize, whatever, the capacity, what the production in Nigeria cannot meet our needs. And therefore, the smuggling has to thrive.
Is it about providing further border patrols to help us secure land borders? Some folks say some food still gets taken out of the country from our production.
Yeah. But even before I step into your question, I must also say one thing, that even the border closures actually had some positive impact, in the sense that it enabled local production of things like rice, capacity of production increase and stuff like that. But palm oil. But the issue is still 200 million mouths to feed versus the capacity. Now, you asked me a very difficult question. And the question is this, that I've said it again in this program before, that when you have the price of a commodity, same commodity, and then you have artificial barrier of a boundary, that same commodity sold at X price here, and across the border is sold at a higher price. Water will always flow somehow to the place where
the arbitrage.
The arbitrage, there's arbitrage opportunity. And that's what tells you, it speaks so much about our fuel smuggling, the same thing with the food smuggling, and with every other thing that is smuggled outside Nigeria, either in or the out. It's something. So the issue, therefore, is how do you control that? Because the money is sweet. A lot of times, I don't want to be...
the profit margin is sweet.
And so, a lot of people who should ordinarily participate in the control of this smuggling, do not do their work efficiently.
Tend to look the other way.
You're putting it more succinctly for me.
The whiff of money.
The
whiff of money. There's another big money on the streets right now, which is 200 billion naira on vehicle finance scheme.
I remember when we started our early careers, when we came out of school, we used to watch our seniors that time, in the private sector especially, when they get the promotions. Most of them head to Vaughan and Pan, and you see Volkswagen Beetle, Volkswagen Passat, new distance.
Yeah.
Simple Thomas also used to were able to buy new cars and so on and so forth. Peugeots, you had a 5043,
Can we still do it now? Low interest rate?
What happens is this, that when you have an inflationary environment, the prices tend to move far ahead, especially for capital goods. They tend to move far ahead of the earning capacity of the citizens. And so each time you have inflation like that, the capital goods prices move far ahead, and the salaries never catch up with it. So from the 70s and 80s, when people could buy new cars, this from from Babangida when he had SAP.
Yes.
The dollar moved from 1 to 1 to 4.181 something.
Yes.
From that time to today, when dollar now, we don't know what it is really.
Salaries been chasing
the prices.
So this 200 naira may not really cut it for everyone.
Well,
I thought with 200 billion, everybody should have a car.
Again, Nigeria, what may happen again ultimately is, how what happen when they come to housing estates?
Yes.
Some will go and buy the houses, and then it's meant for the lower income people, and rent it to the lower income people.
Don't put ideas in some folks' heads.
No.
Let's leave it there for this morning.
I hope so.
Thank you so much, Chikambono, Arise business analyst. You're watching the Global Business Report here on Arise News.